For fishing enthusiasts, how attractive is a bluefin tuna? I want to experience the thrill of a fierce fight with a fish. Are your blood boiling? Not to mention that the fish caught can be sold for money. A tuna over 2 meters long. It is sufficient to exchange for a return of more than 10,000 US dollars. To have such a rich harvest, I believe your wife won't object to your fishing anymore. There are only 2 weeks left in this season. The captain of the tuna net, Dave, regarding the current ranking, feel very satisfied. The income earned is also enough to squander for a while. However, who would complain about having too much money? He still expects to catch tuna. Therefore, everyone's mood is particularly cheerful at this moment. Even on the way to sea, some bananas were specially bought. On the hot tuna, Jarrett, who is nowhere to be seen during those days, also returned to the team. Their current position is rather awkward, ranked second on the list. It is only a little over $2,000 short of winning the championship. This made him rather agitated inside. And Bobby, this handsome young man, after more than half a season of bad luck, the heart has gradually become tough. No longer be irritable because of the lack of tuna. But I have the feeling that he is pretending, still craving for tuna. After circling around the sea for a long time, the detector suddenly rang. The fishing rod is also bending at this moment. Ryan quickly stepped forward to reel in the wire, but it was found that the one that had taken the hook was a yellowfin tuna. This made Bobby on the ship a little disappointed. I thought I could make a fortune today. After nightfall, Captain Zach of the Rocket, I feel that my luck has been bad recently. It's been nearly a week. No tuna was caught, although going to sea every day. But the tuna has never been seen. At this moment, Sean had a sudden inspiration. Take the lead block and let the little dog choose. After all, its role on the ship. It is the mascot. After the selection is completed, tie the lead block to the fishing line quickly. It seems that they have no other way. One can only rely on the metaphysics at the end of the world. However, surprisingly, this trick actually worked. The fishing line made a whooshing sound. A fish has taken the hook. After Zach held the fishing rod, immediately and crazily called back. According to the feedback sent back by the fishing rod, make sure this is a tuna. After the goal is clear, Daniel stepped forward quickly to assist. After his proficient operation, the tuna was pulled up several meters. It made Daniel see the figure of the fish, although the tuna struggled and fled again. But the fishing line didn't break. It is still possible to capture it. However, there are numerous ships nearby. It made several people feel uneasy. If the fishing line is cut by other ships when fleeing, then they would simply go crazy. Daniel immediately intensified his efforts. Half an hour has passed since the fishing time. With the cooperation of Daniel and Zach, they have made remarkable progress, although the tuna is still struggling. But all of this is in vain. As the tuna surfaced, Sean stabbed fiercely with a harpoon, although it was the first time to fail. But Daniel didn't let him escape. Sean aimed at the target and stabbed hard. Quickly control the fish that is still trying to escape. After tying the rope for fixation, looking at the tuna at the stern of the boat, the joy of several people was evident on their faces. I thought there would be no fish to catch today. I never expected to gain something in the end. After pulling the fish onto the boat, it was measured that this fish was as long as 96 inches. They will also be able to have a peaceful rest tomorrow. Several people on the small shell. It was found that there seemed to be quite a few mammals around. This made Cliff feel very uncomfortable. It's hard to catch fish as I wish tonight. On the Tuna website account, the crew listened to the signal of the detector. Deep down in their hearts, they felt this might be the predestined moment. It indicates that they will win this season. But can Dave seize this opportunity? After waiting for more than an hour, they are still standing on the deck. The tuna has yet to show up. Meanwhile, the detector of the small shell sent out an alarm. The fishing rod has also shown obvious bending. Brian reacted quickly and held the fishing rod tightly. The resting crew members got up one after another to offer assistance. As the battle unfolded, the movements gradually became chaotic from the initial chaos. The battle of the small shell is still ongoing. Let's look at Zach back at the port. After finding the acquirer of the wharf, he handed the fish over immediately. The other party removes the useless parts. The remaining tuna weighs as much as 319 pounds. This made them feel a little disappointed. However, if the quality of the fish meat is superior, the situation might be different. The buyer examined the fish meat. Think the color looks good, but the fat content is insufficient. The core part is also slightly inferior. It even failed to reach the average level. Therefore, only a unit price of $10 can be given. This enabled them to obtain a total of $3,190. Despite the meager income. But at least there was still some income. Let's turn our attention to the small shell again. They have been fighting for an hour. There is little time left for dawn. Fortunately, the tuna is still online. When Dave and OTT in the distance learn of the situation, decide to go and offer support immediately. Hope to catch fish there. Just as Dave was about to leave his original position, the fishing rod on the ship suddenly bent. Although the cameraman failed to capture the crucial moment. But this did not have an impact on several people. Still hold the fishing rod tightly and pull the fishing line back. After Dave passed on the message, Bobby also learned the specific location. Immediately set off for that place. Sandro is busy. It was found that this fish was not very strong. It is just suitable as a morning exercise. As for who will win, it is still unknown. According to Sandro's description, Tuna seems quite powerful. The speed of escape is comparable to that of a bullet, but is not as powerful as Sandro. It was still pulled out of the sea. Several people witnessed the moment when the fish jumped out of the sea, increased the intensity in hand again. But Dave had concerns. After all, a slight mistake could cause the fishing line to break. The situation on their side. It was noticed by Nick and others. I can't help but sigh at my poor skills. It's been so long, and the tuna still hasn't been pulled out of the water. Just when he was envying Dave. Not far away, Taylor was envious of him. You even began to envy each other from afar. I can't even earn that much money. Let's take a look at Sandro in the battle again. He had successfully pulled the tuna out of the water before. Nowadays, the fish are pulled even closer. Paul immediately picked up the harpoon, give a gentle poke to the target, and control it beside the ship. Let Sandro tie the rope. Looking at the tuna at the stern of the boat, they began to show off immediately. I wonder what others think either. And Nick and the others who have been fighting for a long time. It is still competing with tuna at this time. However, this fish has surfaced. Brian picked up the harpoon quickly. Stab at the target resolutely. Look at the tuna lying flat on the sea surface. They tied it up with ropes immediately. After successfully catching this fish, the news spread rapidly. 2 consecutive ships successfully caught fish. Greg began to feel nervous. As Dave pulled the tuna onto the boat, it was measured that this fish is as long as 106 inches. Such a huge fish. It seems that they are about to make a huge profit. Meanwhile, Nick and others. The tuna was also pulled onto the ship. And this fish of theirs, it even reached 106 inches, the same size as Dave's fish. Bobby felt extremely unlucky at this moment. It was very difficult for a fish to bite the hook before, but it is yellowfin tuna. Worse still, not a single fish was found after that, just when they were feeling depressed. The fishing rod moved suddenly. Several people became excited instantly. However, they didn't expect that it was a shark that took the hook. And the shark just bit once and then left. Ryan excitedly retracted the fishing line, but found that there was nothing on it. Their smiles vanished instantly. At this point, the Tuna Network number returns to the port. Start selling the gains of this time. As for how much can be earned, it is still unknown. Meanwhile, the small shell also arrived. It just stopped beside Dave. However, there is always a first come, first served. The buyer dealt with Dave's fish first. Finally, this fish weighed as much as 526 pounds. After cutting out the core and the fishtail meat, the buyer examined the fish meat carefully. Overall, the color and fat performance are good, but the core part is slightly inferior. Only a unit price of $16 can be offered. Enable them to earn $8,416. After Dave left, the acquirer turned to Nick's tuna. After learning about Dave's earnings, Nick couldn't help feeling a little flustered in his heart. I'm worried that this fish is not as good as theirs. However, his fish weighs as much as 485 pounds. This is lighter than Dave's fish. What about the quality of the fish meat? The color looks acceptable. The fat content is slightly insufficient, however. The core part seems passable. Offer a unit price of $14. The final payment was $6,790. It seems that his fish are indeed not as good as Dave's. Determined to catch a fish to earn more. After a night of reflection, Greg from the Fishing Mania, the Tuna website account was found again. Hoped to obtain some information from him in order to find a trace of the tuna. And Zach of the Rocket. In order to catch tuna, they actually rubbed the fish wheel with the puppy's bottom. This person is really a bit perverted. It seems that everyone is working hard for fishing. Greg from the Fishing Mania, feeling that time is getting more and more urgent. Be dissatisfied with the caught tuna. His expectations cannot be met. Suddenly, the detector rang. Tuna appeared nearby. Look at the fish jumping beside the boat. Pass the current position out quickly so that others can come to fish. Just ended the call. The tuna then bit the fishhook. Catch the fishing rod immediately. Start to confront the tuna. Billin was collecting other fishing rods beside him. Create a safe environment for him. After dealing with all the chores, Billin took the fishing rod. Holding the fishing wheel tightly with both hands, they began to retrace the line. However, he felt something was wrong. It was found that this tuna seemed to have no strength. Suddenly, a shark approached. This made them extremely nervous. Moreover, there seemed to be more and more sharks. This luck is really bad. Greg immediately increased the speed of the boat. Stay away from those sharks. After more than 20 minutes of struggle, the tuna is gradually approaching. However, at the critical moment, the fishing line broke suddenly. Several people looked at each other. Half a day's efforts came to nothing. As night fell, the captain of the hot tuna, OTT, a premonition suddenly welled up in my heart. A tuna is sure to be caught tonight. This confidence is admirable. At this time, the captain of the windmill is Taylor. Dolphins appeared beside the dawn boat. This often indicates that the tuna is coming. Taylor quickly set the bait. Suddenly, the detector beeped. Tuna has appeared. The fishing rod bent in response as well. Taylor immediately clenched the pole and began to retrace the line. After Marissa got dressed, took over Taylor's job. Meanwhile, OTT's detector also showed signs of movement. Tuna appeared nearby. The fishing rod suddenly bent. OTT and Jarrett were extremely excited. Throw yourself into this struggle immediately. Jarrett was collecting the fishing line. It was found that this fish was extremely strong. Look at Marissa again. After more than 10 minutes of hard work, she has made good progress, but the speed is still not as fast as Jarrett's. Jarrett pulled the tuna to the surface of the water. OTT picked up the harpoon and aimed at the tuna. The water splashed everywhere on the sea surface. The two became more and more excited, watching the tuna gradually approach the side of the boat. The dawn of victory is right before our eyes. In an instant, he threw the harpoon with all his might, despite hitting the target precisely. But the tuna is still struggling fiercely, even break free for a certain distance. Fortunately, the harpoon was still embedded in the fish. Just retract it slowly. However, the process is not easy. The two sides were caught in a seesaw battle. Turn to Taylor again. They have made remarkable progress. Successfully dragged the tuna to the surface of the sea, and it's not far from the side of the ship. Marissa quickly grabbed the harpoon. Look at the tuna that can't escape. Control immediately with a fishtail hook, and fix it firmly with ropes. Meanwhile, Jarrett is still fighting. Drag the tuna back to the surface of the sea again. OTT quickly picked up the fishtail hook. Keep the tuna firmly at the side of the ship. The rope is also tied to the tail. Witness this huge fish. Pull it onto the ship quickly. The fish was measured to be 106 inches long. OTT's sense was indeed accurate. Sure enough, he caught a big fish tonight, and it's a huge object. After Taylor's tuna cooled down, it was also successfully pulled onto the ship. The fish was measured to be 97 inches long. Although it's not over 100, its figure is still quite good. At 11:45 p.m. that night, the hot tuna returned to the port. It seems that they can continue to go fishing at sea tomorrow. After the purchaser takes over the tuna, cut off the head and tail of the fish quickly. The final net weight of the tuna was 496 pounds. The fish meat has a bright color and evenly distributed fat. The core part is also quite good, though slightly lacking, but can still be sold at $18 per gene. Let the two lucky ones earn $8,928. This income is quite considerable, and the windmill was after dawn. The buyer of the port has just been found. After they served the fish, she also began to wait beside. Look at the tuna with a net weight of 468 pounds. I feel a little happy. However, the fish meat didn't quite satisfy him. Although the color looks good, but there's a little fat. The core is just SOSO. Only a unit price of $16 can be offered, although not as tall as OTT. But it still enabled them to earn $7,488. After these days of competition, OTT successfully won the championship. The original Fishing Mania dropped to 5th place. That's all for this episode. Give it a thumbs up, and let's look forward to the next wonderful episode together.